Something went on here, something went on there.
Tonight on Taggart and Torrens,
Jay and Dan from Fox Sports 1 check in from Sochi
we talk to Gerry Dee.
and Ask Ronnie, plus a brand new game called Callin Pranks. You don't want to miss it. Taggart and Torrens is coming up.
Let me ask you this right quick, you know what I mean?
Hi, Jonathan. How are you?
Jeremy, I'm good. Nice to be back face to face again.
Yes, we're in the same room again.
At our Toronto studios.
Yes, yeah, our Toronto studios overlooking the garbage disposal downstairs.
I like that we say studios plural because it makes it sound like it's a whole cocoon.
I like the fact that no one knows where we are at any given time.
I like the fact that the Olympics are almost over.
Yeah.
There, I said it.
It's been stressful. It's been difficult.
I'm obviously invested in the men's and women's hockey.
Yeah.
I love it when Canadians win more than anything, but I'd be lying if I said I hadn't reached my Sochi-ration point.
Oh, jeez.
Right?
Yes, I'm there too. You know what I mean?
Does it seem like they're longer Olympics than any other Olympics have been?
I think so, because the talk was, they were talking about it, I think probably with social media and the way the news is now, the 3 weeks going into the Olympics felt like we were actually in the Olympics. And I remember actually when the opening ceremonies started, I was like, oh, they're already...
They're just starting.
Yeah, they're just getting going right here.
Social media and social unrest. I mean, that was the headline for
Yes.
months leading up to the Olympics, plus the preparations. Are they going to be ready? Are they ready? Turns out it seems like they were fairly ready.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly ready for the Canadian men to win the gold.
I am fairly ready. I'm fairly ready for that, and I think it also has to do with the fact that we're getting killed with snow this winter, and it's just been too much. So to watch it on TV is starting to get to me as well.
Hey, how's the weather been here? Like, there's only one thing that I dislike more than a how's the weather conversation, and that is the weather itself. We had a surprise 12-incher.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
Who likes that?
In the last 6 hours when we woke up, and yeah, there's another 5 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Jimmy Fallon, his first episode?
I didn't. Did you?
I did. It was quite nice. I'm a big fan of his because I think that we have finally a late night host that's on at 11:30 that can tell jokes, that can act, that can play music, can sing, and is funny. On all different levels. We have like a variety show happening again. I love that.
Yeah, and the thing that I love best about him, and it was a slow burn, by the way, like audiences didn't fall in love with him in that role right away. One of the saddest things I've ever read was an article in Rolling Stone after Taxi came out, the movie that he did with Queen Latifah, and it tanked.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that he was pinning all of his hopes on being a Hollywood kind of romantic comedy leading guy. I'm so happy that he's found this home. The thing that I like best about him and his show is that it's just good old-fashioned silly.
Yes.
And I think through the Daily Show years and when Bush was in the president's office, there was a lack of silly. Everything was kind of sneery, look down your nose, and we're kind of cocking our eyebrow at you. I love that it's good old-fashioned silly.
You know what was cool? He brought Joan Rivers back. Apparently she hadn't been on there since 1980 or something. There was when she was guest hosting for Johnny Carson, she got offered a show on Fox, and the way that they left, they split. He said, "You're never coming back on Johnny Carson ever again," and Jay Leno kept that ban.
Wow.
And Jimmy Fallon said, "Hey, let's do this."
Well, aside from the contrived interviews and the just bottom line not funniness of Jay Leno, I'm reading the Carson book written by Henry Bushkin, who was his lawyer. Have you read it?
No, I haven't.
Heroes often fail, in the words of the great Gordon Lightfoot. And I've been having a tough go reading this book because I'm such a Carson fan. And I wonder if the guy that I saw on TV is the guy that I want to know. The more I get to know his kind of off-screen, bitter, retreating, gallivanting, boozing. Wait a minute, he sounds great.
Yeah. Isn't that every talk show host in history?
But he had real unlikable foibles, and I guess I don't know why I thought he was all charm, but the guy was a pretty sad case and only trying to live up to his mom's expectations of him. Like it's kind of nobody likes a sad clown, and it's a dark side that I didn't need to see.
That's why I like Jack Parr. If you go back even further, it's like that guy you can't really go wrong with.
No.
He's hilarious, funny, beautiful guy, all that stuff. It's
and
all
up
great.
and light and having fun. Fallon is all those things.
Yes.
And the other thing that he's brought back is spontaneity, because I have friends who've guested on Leno, and they would call beforehand and say, you say this, so Jay can say this.
Yeah.
Jay wants to say this joke. How can we reverse engineer the way into it? And it comes across as stilted and awkward, and it's not funny.
Yes,
Fallon is funny, so we agree on that.
we do. And you know what? Let's call Jay and Dan in Sochi.
Two funny guys.
Yes.
Where's my beer chair?
And joining us now from Russia with the Love Bone, from Fox Sports 1, Jay Onright and Dan O'Toole. Can you hear us, guys?
We can hear you guys. We found the only two working phones in Russia.
Well, glad you did. How's it going over there? Sports aside, how are the accommodations? What's the food like? What's the vibe?
You know what? All those whiny newspaper reporters that were complaining about everything at the start, they've been silenced because our Russian hosts have been absolutely fantastic. I do have a chicken coop outside my room that wakes me up every day. But aside from that, everything's great.
But the good thing is Chris Chelios checked into our hotel, and there was a cat waiting for him on his bed. Who wouldn't like that?
Oh my gosh! And you know what? We all know that Chris doesn't like cats.
That's right. He hates them.
He hates cats to the point of like it's really odd the fact that how much Chris Chelios hates cats. So what happened? What did he do?
Oh, he just kicked it out. Yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal.
He hasn't seen the cat since.
Wait, was it Katarina Witt?
He wishes.
That's how rumors get started.
She is here. Somebody saw her on the plane on the way over, and apparently she looks better than ever.
So fellas, Russia just lost any chance for a medal in hockey. What's the feeling over there?
I felt horrible for them. I was hoping for. Now, I want people to jump on me and say, oh, you don't want Canada to win the gold. No, what I'm about to say is I wanted Russia to have a moment that Canadians got to experience at the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver, in which you're the host country, your team is in the gold medal final, and you win it, and the country can celebrate, and it's the icing on top of the cake for the entire Olympic Games. They will not be able to experience that moment, and I feel bad for them.
Well, Jay, let me ask you about national pride. You guys are Canadians. You're working for an American outfit. You're in Russia. Are you conflicted about who to cheer for?
A little bit. I mean, it's a tough one in a way because, you in one way you're more impartial because you're not so invested emotionally in the American results. So maybe you're a better journalist, but at the same time, it's tough not to pull for the Canadians. For example, we have this Latvian Canadian game going on right now, and it's really intense, and I'm feeling the emotion. I can only imagine what Ronnie Taggart's feeling right now.
Oh, yeah, I can see him just on the edge of the couch, probably crushing a spinach sandwich, hoping they get a goal very quickly.
Wait,
I love Ronnie to see
sandwich?
Ronnie loves spinach sandwiches. He loves to put any kind of leafy vegetable between bread and crush it.
You know where you'd never get a spinach sandwich? Russia!
Well, what are you guys crushing food-wise over there?
Jerry just had a brilliant meal. He'll describe it.
Yeah, I just ordered, it simply said chicken breast. I thought, you know what, I could just use a simply cooked chicken breast, maybe a little béarnaise on the side. And what I got was 3 chicken breasts. I mean, they plopped down 3 full chicken breasts in front of me. I said, okay, well, I'm really hungry, so I ate 2 of them. And then I left one, and the waitress came to the table and said, well, you don't like your food? I'm like, what? You put 3 chicken breasts there. I ate 2 of them. I'm not going to...
Was the chicken from McToolsey's outside Dan's room?
Oh, hey, by the way, speaking of mixed stuff, they have McDonald's here, and it tastes exactly like the McDonald's in North America, so we have been crushing that every single day.
Yeah, we are not healthy.
I heard the sandwiches are different over there.
Like the McDonald's sandwiches?
No, just period. Like sandwiches, like in terms of like if you go to the craft table, there's just the bread is a little different.
The bread is maybe 12, 14 days been stale, and then put it on the sandwich. But aside from that, it's great.
Perhaps some unknown ingredients in the meat department too.
Oh, we have a buffet set up for us every single meal here in our hotel because Fox booked the entire 30-room hotel, and there are a lot of unidentifiable meats that are served, and they're usually in a puck or a ball form.
They're the Russian version of sliders.
So, are there any hotel pranks in the Fox Hotel?
Unless Jay engineered the feline trick on Chris Chelios.
I just took a crap on Tulsi's pillow after those 2 breasts of chicken. But other than that, it's been pretty above board, so to speak.
I saw you guys doing some pretty ridiculous videos over there. I don't know if it's the spare time with the unitard or whatever it is when your guys are wandering around doing ridiculous things like checking out the toilets. But what have you been doing over there other than that kind of stuff?
A lot of hard work. We have 14, 15-hour work days in which we're researching and going to study what's going on, and then we're detailing everything.
You can't even describe anything.
Can't even get through that sentence right there. We have no, like you guys know, we have no rights to show anything. So we're just sort of doing what we do. By the way, the Canadians just scored, so this is very exciting. Shea Weber, good BC boy there.
With 7 minutes left in the third period, this is very exciting.
There was actually a 3-second delay on that goal. You said he scored before it happened on the TV here.
Did we ruin it for you? I'm sorry. I feel...
Spoiler alert.
How the hell are we ahead of you?
It's the rink's across the street from us.
This is crazy.
Dan, what happens in the future? Tell us.
Exactly. The Olympic Park, I have to say, every venue has been fantastic, and the Russians should be proud. It's just not a lot of them have showed up. You could fire a cannon through the Olympic Park, which it'd be pretty tough getting a cannon into the Olympic Park because of the security. But it's a lot of room to roam about by yourself.
So why is that? Were tickets too expensive, or they didn't want local folks attending?
I don't think Russians come here. I don't think this is a place they want to visit. I'm really worried about all these hotels when the Olympics are over. They've built all these beautiful hotels. Who's gonna come visit these hotels?
I have a feeling that was the idea to kind of disguise the $50 billion. Let's just make a little town out in the middle of nowhere that people will forget about in a couple of years and pocket some of this cash.
It's unreal. Like there are 5-star hotels here that could stand alone in New York or Toronto or anywhere, and they're going to be vacant. And I just discovered a fact about the Black Sea, in which everything sits on here. I guess when the waves get pretty big, or the wind picks up and the water gets blown ashore, it's black sludge. So they have to go out with high pressure sprayers and spray it off their nice marble walkways and such at the hotels. So that's always great to hear.
Have you been in for a dip?
Yeah, going in for a quick dip. Yeah. Now, on the plus side, our snowboarding insider, Andy Finch, who was the 2006 Olympian for the United States, he surfed in that sea today. So
wow.
I guess the bottom line is he may be dead by the time your listeners hear this.
So you guys are up in this little kind of mountain community. Have you got a sense of what, I guess, celebrity is in Russia? Are there like celebrity stars that are at these events that you're like, hey, this is a clear person that people, are enamored with? Is that exist there?
Like Sochi's Simon Cowell.
Alex Ovechkin is a big star here. He's on all the Coke ads. I saw a Evgeny Malkin Head and Shoulders ad, and I think I can speak for Onright when I say I am extremely enamored by a couple of the Russian TV presenters that have been doing the Olympics coverage. One of them, it's very odd. She wears skirts, and then she puts her knee up so she's sitting at a desk. You can see her knee above the desk. It's very odd.
That's not news. That is not news. You're watching.
But not even that. Okay, and then you go through the Olympic Park, and you're thinking, you're going to hear maybe some Russian pop songs. Who are those twins? Those Tattoo?
Yes.
You maybe hear a little Tattoo. Maybe hear something like that. Maybe a little Rah Rah Rasputin by Boney M. No. What you hear is all modern American pop songs. And then the other day, I'm going through the park, and I know, Taggart, you're going to love this. I hear Let It Ride by BTO, and I'm thinking, is Randy getting royalties for this? Does he know this is happening? Yeah.
Let It Ride. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was shocked.
One of the other amazing thing, guys, is at the hockey rink. Hopefully, you can hear it, and the broadcasters aren't draining it out. But the organ playing at the hockey games, both men and women, off the charts good.
Fantastic. Nick Purdon from CBC Radio did a profile of the guy who's actually the King's home organist. I gather the Rangers home organist is over there too. And the amount of thought that goes into what song he plays at what moment in the game is inconceivable.
He was playing the Game of Thrones theme, at least in the Shiba Arena the other day, which I really enjoyed. I thought it was good, and I think it was because of the Trey Croner were playing.
He also played Pressure by Billy Joel.
Did you, by the way, John, did you call him the head organer? Is that the correct term?
I think I called him an organist.
Oh, I thought you said the head organer.
But it was nice that America was able to give an organ donation to these Russian Olympics.
That's good. I like that.
Is your press pass, is that a credit card to get you into any venue, any event the whole time you're there? Or do you have to buy tickets like the rest of the folks?
No, it's a little bit of both. For most events, you can get in with that press pass, but for the big stuff, for instance, today's Russia-Finland hockey game, you needed a ticket to get into that as well as your press pass. Tonight's women's figure skating, you would also need a ticket to get in for that. Now, having said that, we've never really seen them actually check tickets, so. We've gone into some venues with a ticket, then come back out and said, oh, you know what, my friend forgot to come in with his ticket. And we've handed the same ticket to the person outside the venue. They've come in, and then they will just keep doing that over and over. So basically, I'm a little worried about my safety over there.
Is there actually a feeling of tension at all, or do you get that at all being there?
We thought there was going to be, but the security is very airtight. You have to pass through about 3 or 4 checkpoints when you are on the Olympic grounds, and then going to the mountain. That's when I saw the most security. You get on a bus, they check your pass, then they put a sticker on all the entry points for the bus, and if that sticker is at any way tampered with, I don't even want to guess what would happen. But then you are checked at another security point. Your pass, someone comes on the bus, and then you're checked again when you get off the bus, and then you have to pass through another security checkpoint to enter the venue. So it's a lot of security.
Wow.
By the way, they do that in Moncton.
When they do Touchdown Atlantic.
Hey, so Dan, I have to ask you, you're reporting on Tessa and Scott versus Charlie and Meryl. You have to give the good news to your American viewers that Charlie and Meryl won the gold. Did you have a tear in your eye?
No. Michelle Kwan, our skating insider, she delivers all the figure skating news because she's America's sweetheart. So we just give her everything.
Pass it off, smart.
We pass the buck basically a lot over here.
I think we may have reached the high point of the Olympics with that with that USA-Russia game as far as the intensity with the atmosphere, because we aren't going to have a marquee final because I wanted to see a final with Russia, U.S., or Canada, and we might see one of those two teams, but
we're going to see a lot of Yari Curry cutaways is what he's trying to say.
It'll be like when Boston beat the Yankees and nobody cared about the World Series after that.
Exactly.
Yari Curry's running a big engine, right, Jay?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, Curry's, as if he wasn't enough of a legend, then he puts together the team that knocks off the Russians. So, yeah, everyone always underestimates the Finns, right? Everyone always underestimates the Finns. Then they get a big goalie in there, and you never know what might happen. So they could do it. Everyone loves Solani over here. We saw him right. You know who we did speak to the other day, and I think you guys will really appreciate this, is since Canada is playing Latvia right now, is Arturs Urbe.
Wow.
Nice. That's awesome.
What a flat-out legend that guy is.
Nice.
Where did you run into him?
He's working for the NHL Players Association as an interpreter because he speaks fluent Russian, and we asked him if he was still living. He was a goalie coach for the Washington Capitals for a while, and now he's back in Riga, in his hometown. And I said, "Are you happy to be back in Riga?" He's like, "No, it's boring."
Arturs, he does what he pleases. Folks might be listening to this after the semifinals. Put you both on the spot real quick before you let you go. Who are we going to see in the gold medal game?
I'm going to have to go with the Finns. I'm going to have to go with Canada-Finland. I think that's how it's going to play out. I think the Canadians, as usual, start slow. I think they'll get by the U.S. in the semis and take on the Finns in the final, and then I think they'll beat the Finns. Toolsy?
Canada's got to find some offense. What the hell's going on?
We're defensive giants right now. We got Doughty. It's all good, man. We do it from the back.
Hey, can I ask you guys one question? What's your thoughts on this PK Subban winning the Norris Trophy, not playing
I really don't understand that. Like, they put him in for 2 seconds and then they kind of make it seem like it's already too late because defense is doing so well already when the guy's such a monster. I just don't understand why they wouldn't put him in there earlier and then solidify him as one of these, mainstays on defense. It doesn't make sense to me.
I get the sense Babcock thinks his best quality is his worst quality, and that's his unpredictability. He can be explosive and fun to watch. He can also make some costly mistakes, and I can only guess that's why he's being conservative. I'd like to see him in, personally.
I'd love to just even see him out on power plays. If you're not going to, just throw him out there on the power play or something. It just seems kind of crazy.
It's really, really bizarre.
Well, they might have to shake up the lineup for Friday because Tavares went off hurt, right? I haven't heard if he's going to make it back.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe Duchesne will get back in then. I'll really like him.
Fellas, thank you very much for stopping by and giving us an update. And are you guys going to be coming back and doing the old Jay and Dan pods soon or what?
We're not sure. We feel like we like what you guys are doing so much. We're just going to take a break for a little while. And you know how it is with us. We're workaholics. It's 15-hour days here.
Yes.
It was 4-hour days at TSN.
Right.
So, you never know with us. We like to keep them guessing, just like Babcock. Keep them guessing.
The kids are going to be very disappointed. Obviously, a lot of huge fans of the podcast and of you guys personally and professionally, Jeremy and I included. Thanks so much for your time. We know how pressed you are over there.
You can bring it too, guys.
Hey, and on the way back, you tell that pilot to fly safe. He's carrying precious cargo, okay?
Will do. Thanks, my friend.
Talk soon, fellas. Thanks. He is a former teacher, he's a father, he's an actor, he's a stand-up comic, and he's our guest on Taggart and Torrens, Gerry Dee on the line. Hey, Jerry.
Hi, guys. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going, Jerry?
Is that how everyone starts? I think it's like, how's it going? Hey, every radio interview is the same way, too. I never know what to say. How you doing?
Do you want me to try it again and launch right into a question morning show style? Here we go.
No.
It's 8:13 in the morning. Gerry Dee on the line. Jerry, did you watch the game this afternoon between Canada and Latvia? Your thoughts on Coach Babcock?
That's actually better because I always feel so awkward going, hey, guys, how you doing? I did watch the game, by the way, which was...
Stressful, huh?
Yeah, that's the word, stressful. Didn't enjoy that.
Jay and Dan were on. We obviously talked about PK Subban. One of the things that's kind of a big storyline around the Canadian Olympic team. Do you agree with him sitting?
No, I don't know if you saw my tweet a couple days ago. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that you would, the Norris Trophy, reigning Norris Trophy winner would sit in the first game. And I think it's, whether you think PK should have won the Norris Trophy or not, doesn't matter. He did. And there's a respect factor. Like, you'd never see Bork or Blake or Pronger or any other Norris Trophy winners sit in a game like that. And he's sat for the most of it. And I think it's ridiculous.
It's very bizarre in my sense, the fact that he's such an explosive player. And it seems to me that some of the people that are the naysayers is because he is an explosive player that it might be an issue. What do you think about that?
No, I don't. I think it's simple. He's the Norris Trophy winner. He plays. And you can say what you want, and if there's something between him and the coach doesn't like him, who knows what goes on in NHL games. And I don't know. It certainly can't be anything to do with his game. You play the Norris Trophy winner, and he won it 4 months ago as the best defenseman in the league, and now he's not even the best defenseman in Canada. It doesn't make sense to me, and I don't think there's any hidden agenda. It doesn't seem right.
You have credibility in hockey. You had your own hockey school. You played at St. FX. You recently got to make your debut on Hockey Night in Canada. How was that?
It was fun. That was like, I think we all have things we grew up idolizing, and for me, Hockey Night in Canada. So it was kind of surreal to be sitting there with those guys, and I was nervous, and it's kind of one of those, if I could say, dream come true moments for me, being such a fan of Hockey Night in Canada. It wasn't a big thing I did. It was a couple minutes, but it was, I've always loved sports, as you know, and it was kind of a neat little thing to do.
Could that have been the most nervous you've ever been?
No, God. I think the most nervous I've ever been was I lived in L.A., and Jono, you were down at the time, and I booked, what was his name? I booked Craig Kilborn, and I'd only been doing stand-up for 4 years, and I felt like I was ready for it, and I was in way over my head. I started thinking about it, and there was a point in the set where I forgot what I was going to say, and it was probably a half second that felt like 30 seconds, and I couldn't open my mouth. It was so dry, and I would say that's the most nervous. You know, other than expecting your kids and hoping everything goes okay, and you're a little nervous in that.
You know what's kind of weird about that show too, and Our Lady Peace played Craig Kilborn, and he's kind of a weird host. He's not really that warm a guy. Like for a band, that's the only show where he's not even there when you're playing, and when you get there, it's like he's already gone. And I could see that, especially as a comic for your first time, probably having that feeling of, hey, how's it going? And then like, yeah, whatever.
Well, and you know, Our Lady Peace, much bigger than I ever will be and was, and that's even worse for, you know, like for me, I mean, but you'd think for you guys, you'd have got a little more, you know, the creds would, you have earned your creds to, but yeah, it's you know, I watched Wayne Brady on The View the other day, and I opened for Wayne Brady, and you know, Jono, you and I have talked about this, where to the public, like the sweetest guy, and no, he's not. Like you ask people that have opened for him, you know, he doesn't meet you. You're not allowed to go near his green room. He puts a big curtain over it. He doesn't meet the opener. He doesn't say thank you. He doesn't do any of that stuff. And that's our business. Excuse me. That's our business, right? I mean, you know, Jono, you were saying something about Dr. Phil was, you know, is not what you see on camera.
I was backstage at The View, and I watched him. I mean, I had suspicions about him anyway, but I watched him bark at somebody who was just trying to powder his nose before he went out there. I mean, the biggest misconception of celebrities is that they'll be remotely interesting. I've often found that the people, the bigger they are, the less they have to say about anything. And maybe it's because they're so sheltered and don't have any real experience to talk about. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, there's some truth to that. But, you know, I remember when I used to coach hockey, and I was fortunate enough to coach some good players who were making decisions, and they were going on recruiting trips. And, you know, I'd always tell them, which was something my brother told me, you'd say to them, don't talk to the first line players, talk to the fourth line players, ask them what it's like. And it's kind of the same in the acting world. Don't talk to the number two person, talk to the makeup people, and they'll tell you what these people are like. And I think we see that in our business where, you know, I'm always, you know, we've worked with people, Jono, who are sweethearts to you and I, and we know they're not to or whatever. And that's really how you tell the character of anyone in any profession.
It's a similar thing when we see with people like Justin Bieber, who just get so big so fast that you can't even imagine what that person is going through. But there's also the element of, and I understand a little bit by, you know, being 17 years old and when Our Lady Peace was blowing up, just, you know, being a kid in high school and seeing people excited about you, there is an element where when that fandemonium is all going on, there's an inherent choice that you make to either engage with the person or ignore the person. And in modern society, especially in sports and superstars, it's like there's an ability to turn that person out or focus out the people, and that's acceptable and almost cool in a sense. And when that's acceptable at any level, it seems to just blow up, and that's kind of the way it becomes if you're a celebrity. But I see if there's ever somebody who's nice or says hello, like Robert Plant or, you know, Alex Van Halen, or if I'd meet someone like Elvin Jones, who's like, these are super, super massive stars, and yet the fact that they're talking to me and being completely normal, and it sounds like I'm, you know, talking to someone who could just have grown up in a small town, that's everything. It makes so much of a difference.
I agree, and I think, Jono, you're a perfect example of that type of celebrity, and we're all in our, you know, in some ways, I guess, you know, I mean, certainly Our Lady Peace blows everything else out of the water, but Jono, you've been in this business for years, and you've always, you know, been that guy to be nice to everyone, and I think when you work with people like Jonathan, you see that, and you see not just Jonathan, but you see it sort of translates, right? So if you hang out with Justin Bieber and you see that, and you're his second then you'll be like that. So I think
Yeah.
it all comes, and I think parenting is huge too. And I think this is where you see Justin Bieber did not have parenting.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you see that his tattooed dad is with him at the drag race, right?
Exactly, encouraging the race. So I do agree it would be hard. You guys kind of grew up in this business. I didn't, and kudos to you guys for remaining grounded, because when you are 17 and you get everything thrown at you like this, it does take some people to keep you grounded and humbled, and that's probably very hard to do as a teenager.
Well, just to give some perspective, I was on a Canadian kids show that was on Saturday mornings, and any amount of my own hype I was buying, I had 30 surrogate parents who were on the crew that knocked that out of me pretty quick at CBC in Halifax, and I'm so thankful I had that. Speaking of careers, you were a teacher, as is well documented by now, and you started doing stand-up kind of nights and weekends. Was there a point in the process where you thought, I'm going to make the leap? Like, that must have been tricky timing-wise.
I remember I had an agent at the time in the Yuck Yuck chain who was probably to this day the best agent I've had in any capacity. He said, I asked him that question, when do I leave? When do I leave? When do I pursue? When do I go to LA? And when I went to LA when you were there, Jono, it was a kind of a waste, because really you have to be there for so long, or you have to go with some heat, and I hadn't planned on either. But he always said to me, you'll know when to make the leap. And for me, it really became a financial thing where I was 5 years into stand-up. I was probably making close to what I was making teaching, which was pretty fortunate. And I thought, well, this is as good a time as any to really kind of give it a shot. But for me, I went down to California and I won this very reputable competition. And when I won that, and it was amidst, a lot of big name comics, sort of in the big name, and like we're headlining clubs and then the States and stuff, big name in that sense. But it was a contest that Dane Cook had won, and Ellen had won, and Robin Williams had won, and Dana Carvey had won. So it didn't mean as much as I thought it did at the time, as I do now. But at the time, everyone was like, man, you just won this. Why are you going back to teaching? So it was kind of a combination of just having won that, getting a taste of, that I could compete in this business, and that I was financially, it wasn't like, I don't feel I really took a chance. A lot of people say, man, you gave up teaching. I didn't really, because I could go back to teaching, and I was already making what I was making, my $40,000 or $45,000, which a year, which I said, well, I might as well try it. I might as well try it now.
And in comedy, that's a decent living.
It is in Canada. It is. And in the States, in the States it would be too. And it's, being a comic, I think, I've even been on TV, and, it instantaneously as a stand-up gives you like a better following, a bigger crowd, a bigger ticket price. It doesn't mean you're funnier. And I'm very fortunate. And, I assume one day that'll end, and then I'll have to, go back to just making it as a comic. But in this country, doing stand-up is like, 10% of the country, 10% of the comics are doing that.
For sure.
And here you are now. Season 3 is debuting on Monday on CBC, is it not?
Yeah. It's
that's pretty good. 3 seasons as a comic on a TV show in Canada. That's like that's superstar.
It's I guess in some ways it's. I know how fortunate we all are to be, on TV on a regular basis. But yeah, there's it's all come full circle. I think the challenging thing now is for the past 6 months, it's the first time I've ever thought, wait, what's next?
Yeah.
Because Mr. D is that felt like the pinnacle, and you're like, wow, is that the pinnacle? Like, is that it? And you start to question, what's after that? And so the little bit of worry starts to set in, which I've never had, because you always feel like there's something going to come, but then just sort of just hits you like, what's next really? Am I going to get another sitcom? That's probably rare.
Well, it's like being in a band, and you got a record deal. That, in a sense, the easy part is getting the record deal. Maintaining a record deal is the hard part, and I guess that's where you are right now, right?
Yeah,
but the way I always look at it is, Any moments of uncertainty I have as a freelancer, I always imagine, okay, so say you took a different route and you worked at Xerox Canada and you worked 50 weeks a year and you had 2 weeks vacation. Does that feel better? And the answer for me personally is no, I don't think I could live like that. So the big lesson for me has been to try to use the downtime as actual vacation time and instead of just worry time. You just have to trust that another gig will come. It always does. And somehow you can kind of carve out a living, you know? Like you have 6 things you could fall back on.
Yeah, and I think you've experienced it. So for you, you're right. But for me, it was the first time where I'm like, as you know, John, we're waiting every March, April to find out if we get another season. Like it's a horrible business in that sense that, you constantly have to wait and there's no guarantee that we will. And we were very happy to be back. And, sometimes I don't quite understand it because it seems like people know us all. They watch the show, they talk about the show, and yet we're fighting every year to be back. And I think I think comedy is the toughest. And that's why I was saying it's expensive and they're probably like, you know what, we can get 100,000, we can get 1 million viewers doing a celebrity roast off. We just do that. It costs us nothing.
Well, not only is there no guarantee, there's no indication whatsoever year to year. CBC, in fairness, is in a really tough spot. They have cutbacks to contend with every year, and it is a business of economics, although they're a public broadcaster. You made an interesting decision this time around, which was to float the premiere online. Tell me a little bit about your thinking behind that.
Well, it wasn't my decision. That was brought to Mike and I, the other exec producer, and I was torn really, but you take the advice of the people that live in this business more. And, my first thought was, look, we're already fighting to get ratings. Why are we going to, give away our first episode online? And that's not going to count towards ratings. But I kind of started rethinking it, and they've had success on other shows in other countries too, not just here. And I thought, most of the people that watch our show really don't watch it live at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock this year. They don't sit and watch it live. They either tape it, they watch it on Netflix, or they catch it online. That's our demographic. So I thought, maybe this is a way to at least get some hype around the show, for some guy that's sitting in an office. It's like, you know what, I don't sit and watch TV at 8, but I don't watch this on my lunch. We might get, and I'm learning this from Netflix, there's still people will tweet me saying, hey, just caught your show on Netflix. And it's season 3, and I'm like, well, that's so bizarre. But I remember I started watching Seinfeld season 3. I started watching Breaking Bad season 3. Like, I'd never heard of these shows.
Right.
And so maybe, and you'll know, like, from Trailer Park Boys, my understanding, it was very similar. It was, there's a cult show that every Canadian now knows, but it wasn't like that seasons 1 and 2. And it took
Man, I'm the first to say, I keep thinking it's over every 6 months. And thanks to Netflix and the internet, it keeps finding a new audience, new generations. People just won't let it die. Not only will they not let it die, but it's enjoying success unlike it's ever had in different parts of the world. It's crazy.
I know. And that's a show that, like you just said, is in every part of the world. And, and it's back, and it's, I think they're shooting a season 9. Aren't you guys doing season 9 now?
Yeah, this summer.
Never ending. It's like Coronation Street for trailer parks.
Exactly. So I guess it's such a learning curve for me. But the online decision was not mine. But at the same time, Mike and I, kind of thought about it, and our ratings dropped last year for whatever reason. Maybe it's our ratings are very high in the 24 to 59, which is apparently the coveted rating age, and that's a good sign for us. But I talk so much about ratings because it's all that matters. I've learned. I don't, people stopping us in malls or knowing us or tweeting us. If it's not ratings, there's not money coming, and the networks have to cancel you. So it really is about ratings.
And that's just the new reality these days. It didn't used to be. I mean, a show like Street Sense would probably never get made now at the CBC, which is a really sad thing. Canadian shows like Rookie Blue, the dramas, are doing well south of the border. We've seen a couple of sales of Canadian comedies in recent months. Do you think there's a distinctly Canadian comedic voice the way there used to be with Kids in the Hall, or do you think it's more universal now? Like, do you think a show looks and feels as Canadian as they used to?
I don't know what that is. People tell us our show doesn't look Canadian, and we're trying constantly, as you know, to sell Mr. D to the States. but there is a stigma that an American network, like a big one, like an ABC or NBC, they're like, well, why don't we just do our own? We don't have to buy a Canadian. You know, they look at it as if, but you know, even Trailer Park Boys, which was sold like, I think it was BBC America, and then they had to beep it, and you think that's a no-brainer.
Oh man, people thought it was a documentary.
Yeah. So it is very hard, but we're constantly trying. And I looked at all the pilots yesterday. They were all released in the Hollywood Reporter, and there's a show called American Teacher, which is very similar to our kind of storyline, Bad Teacher type thing, and it's based on a British sitcom called Bad Teacher. And you're like, why is that one picked up and not ours?
Right.
I think our cast is top notch. I think it's what makes the show is how funny all our cast are.
Yeah, and to be honest, I've never felt like, I think those lines have kind of blurred from like when we were kids in the 80s and 90s of like a show seeming like it's Canadian. I think that doesn't happen. I think that kind of turned when the Flashpoints and the CTV kind of started jumping. It seems to me that it looks to me no different than any other sitcom, whether it be Canadian, American, or what.
Well, the other big thing is there's this new show, Working with the Angles, which is a co-production with NBC and a Canadian. So I'm not sure if I think it's Shaw, which is global. But that'll be interesting to see how that does. That's a comedy. And, you know, the big thing now in comedies is they're like, which they attach a big name. But that doesn't guarantee anything.
Right.
It really doesn't.
No.
And, you know, Michael J. Fox, and I grew up idolizing him. And, I mean, you know, I watched an episode, and it wasn't amazing.
How about Robin Williams on TV?
Robin Williams was my next example.
Like, what's going on there? Like,
and now Andrea Martin got one, and Eugene Levy just got one, and you know, I wish them success. Dave Foley's got one coming out here in Canada. It doesn't mean, and I think the network people, who are usually very young in both sides of the border, they just think, you know, oh, Eugene Levy or this and that, and you know, you assume good. Not always the case. And our cast is really a cast of, to the Americans, a cast of nobodies. I mean, you know, they might know Jono from Trailer Park, maybe, and that's it. I mean, we don't have that big draw, that big name, and that's maybe what you need to get it sold in the States. I don't know.
But you're right, there's no guarantees. And certainly the trend now in TV comedy is the return to the three-walled sitcom. I find that format feels a little stale. But you never know. 90210 wouldn't have happened without Degrassi. My Name is Earl wouldn't have happened without Trailer Park Boys. Maybe there will be a Mr. F on NBC this fall.
Yeah, well, it doesn't mean anything if none of us are a part of it.
No, it's true. Maybe we can work on it as PAs or something.
thanks for dropping by, Gerry.
Thanks, guys. All the best. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate your time. Here's hoping season 3 brings all the big numbers and everything that we all so richly deserve.
Thanks, guys.
Cocktail, please.
Okay, so one of the things that we want to do on this show is play fun little games and challenge each other. It's our 4th episode. I think we should try something different. You ready?
Yes.
Here's how it's going to work. You're going to give me a phone number to call. It's a prank call. I'm going to see how long I can keep the person on the phone.
Can I give this a name?
Sure.
Can we call this segment Callin Hanks? Or sorry, can we call this segment Callin Pranks?
I don't think we can call it anything else. Callin Pranks it is.
Okay,
Tim is going to be recording the time.
Okay.
Now, once I've placed my call to the number you give me, out of your head, any number between 1 and 999,999,999.
Perfect. Okay.
Then I will give you a number you call
Yeah.
and see how long you can keep the person on the phone. Winner gets bragging rights.
Okay, so basically we're trying to keep this person on, and whoever keeps them on longer wins.
Right.
Okay, so
These people, it's not this person. We're calling different numbers, obviously.
You're calling a person right now. I'm about to give you a number.
And just so we're clear, Tim, the clock starts when the person says hello.
Okay, and Tim has the stopwatch right here ready, and let me give you a number, okay?
Any area code.
Yeah, I'll give you a nice GTA 647.
Okay. 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 Godspeed. Here we go.
Good luck to you. We're Callin Pranks. You got what it takes.
Callin Pranks. Oh, it's ringing.
Oh, yes.
Is Michael there or Steven?
I'm sorry, you got the wrong number.
Who's this?
It's not Michael or Steven.
Well, you don't sound like a Michael or Steven. Maybe a Michaela or a
Nope.
Stevania.
Nope, sorry.
Did you see Heather win the gold medal?
I'm sorry?
Heather Moisey, she's from Summerside. She just won the gold medal at the bobsled.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. You're not an Olympic fan?
Yeah?
You are? But you didn't watch? Aren't you from PEI?
Yeah. I'm not into talking to people I don't know, thanks.
No, that's fair enough. What are you into? Hello? Okay. Damn, what's my time?
What's the time?
34 and a half seconds.
Oh, yeah. You know what? You really plowed yourself out by throwing out 2 male names off the top there.
Yeah, but I did the old Ricky from Trailer Park Boys trick, which is you pick 2 common names. By the way, I think we were vibing. Like, I think, despite the 34 seconds, I think it went okay.
I think it was definitely interesting technique by using those 2 names.
If you force intimacy and sincerity, you know what? I should have played the pauses more.
Tidy's calling you Studley.
Here's the number.
Okay.
902.
Yep. Yep. We're Callin Pranks. We got ring. We got 1 ring here.
Yeah.
This is Jeremy calling here. I just just had a couple questions. I'm calling from Toronto, and I was just wondering how the weather was where you were.
Weather's
My name's Jeremy. I'm calling from Toronto. Just a bit of a weather question. How cold is it there?
I'm not really sure.
Is it because it's getting warm? It was really cold here, probably minus 20 at least, and in the last week or so, and today it was actually +1 or so. So we're actually over the hump. How are you guys doing?
We're fine. We're just in regular season. Is there something I can help you with?
Just the weather. That's all I was looking for. I mean, to be honest, I love. Are you from PEI?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Yeah, and the weather is usually a little more extreme there than here. So I just wanted to see if it was. When you say it's seasonal, does that just mean normal, or is it like cold?
Normal, yeah.
But it's still pretty cold, though.
Still pretty cold, yeah.
Do you like the covered bridge chips?
Sorry, my friend, I really don't have a lot of time to talk. I'm a little busy at the moment, but...
Thank you for your time, then.
Have a great
day.
You too, bye now.
Bye.
Tim, what do we have on the clock?
2:30.
Come on.
2:30.
That was spectacular. Did you think beforehand? Like, did you have a plan, or you just kind of went with it?
Well, I was kind of testing his personality a little bit.
Yeah.
I could tell he was not going to take any BS.
Yeah.
So I just tried to get a little strange by the weather part.
Yeah.
And that kind of helped me a little bit, I think. Because if I had been a little too forceful or cheeky, he probably would have hung up right away.
But it is the one thing we can all agree on: the weather.
Yes.
I've learned a lot. I was Latvia today. You were Canada. I came up a little short. Congratulations. You win the first round of Callin Pranks. But let me say, we're just getting started.
What were you thinking with that intro there? What were you thinking?
I was hoping that she would say, "Do you mean Doug?" Yeah, Doug. Is he there?
And then you could just talk to Doug for an hour.
Well, I'm sorry. It was no "How's the weather out there?" But I do have a deep bag of tricks. Maybe I didn't come to play this week, but you will see it next week. And by the way, you have exhausted your "How's the weather out there?" because every good-natured Canadian will indulge that question. So that was cheating.
Callin Pranks is the best. I love it.
Callin Pranks round 1 in the can.
That's what's cracking.
Well, here we are again with the great Ronald Taggart. We have Ask Ronnie, another segment here. Dad, J-Rock has a couple more questions from some Twitter followers, and why don't you hit him with the first one?
Hey, it's your name, Ronnie, right?
Yeah,
How you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. How you doing?
I'm feeling tight, you know what I'm saying, man?
Good. You
I'm feeling good.
Oh,
I'm feeling loose and I'm feeling tight, you know what I mean?
I gotta rather feel loose.
Hey, Ronnie, let me ask you something right quick.
Good night.
Alex Salmon is like, who is your all-time favorite actor?
Oh, man. That's a hard question. You know why? Because I go with the movie or the performance of most of these older movies, right?
Like from the 80s?
Oh, long before that, from the 30s and 40s, 50s, 60s, so many good movies. You remember you?
What about the Treasure of the Sierra Madre is a classic.
Great movie.
Little Humphrey Bogart.
Great performances all around, man.
Hey, Ronnie, if you had to name one, who's the tightest shotty?
Who's the what?
Who's like the, you know what I'm saying, the best looking tighty working up in there, like in movies and that, like an actress.
Actresses?
Yeah, but like tight looking shotty, you know what I mean? That you'd like be wanting to push up on, you know what I mean?
Oh, I don't know. That's something personal, man. There's some actress I'd like to push up against.
Yeah, like you down with like Jennifer Love Hewitt? You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of lewd, though.
Lewd.
I know what I would get if I did that. I'd probably get a big punch in the chin.
That's right. That's the right answer, Ron. That's the one I was looking for.
That's the right answer.
That is correct, sir.
I don't understand what you said.
I can't be getting you punched. Here's another question.
Yeah.
Scott Douglas be like, you got 1 hour left to live, son. How you gonna spend it?
Oh, obviously with my family. We all do just a hugs for a whole hour.
Nice. An hour left to
Well,
live.
that's what to do, eh? What would you do?
I would be driving to Baysville to see you.
Oh, of course. We'd all be driving together to each other.
We'd be cracking in the house up in Baysville.
If a big meteor was coming, it was going to be here in an hour. We'd have to do that. What else could you do?
Sorry to break up your little Sobeys commercial, but I'd be blasting beats and popping bottles, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Get lost in that kind of stuff.
That's right, and fade away, you know what I mean?
Just fade away in there.
No, I'm serious. Ronnie.
I can see J-Rock is actually talking about he would be looting, Dad. If there was an hour left, he would be...
That's kind of fun.
You
wouldn't get caught and have to worry about doing any time anymore, would you?
No, I'd also like walk into Arby's and be like, give me all your sandwiches and I ain't paying.
Yeah, all the cops would join in and doing it, giving a good blast off. They burning everything in sight. They're shooting everything till all the animals all gone.
Would you like to supersize that? You damn right I would. How much is that? $0, that's right.
Yeah, that's the only one. Yeah, you don't want to hurt anybody because you might have to, because you only got an hour for Judgment Day, too, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, why did I do that the last fucking hour?
That's a good point.
That's a good point. Now I'm going the other way. Oh, no. Why did I listen to somebody?
Hey, Ronnie, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
What do you think hell is, dog?
Oh, hell?
What's hell to you?
Oh, hell to me would be, lost. Lost with nothing, no hope, no despair.
Oh, I thought you meant like Lost the TV show.
You mean, what?
I thought you meant like watching Lost the TV show. It was hell at the end.
Watching the Howdy Doody show would be hell. What?
No, Daddy was...
I missed the Howdy Doody. I was going to be on there, eh?
Yeah, you were supposed to be on Howdy Doody show. Dad, you were
that was my class.
Hold on, Dad.
Stop.
Dad, you got to tell this.
I'm still looking for a certificate from the Howdy Doody Productions people.
You were supposed to be all up in Howdy Doody?
No, I was almost on the Howdy Doody show.
Tell the story.
When I was a little kid.
You were supposed to...
My whole class was invited there.
In New York, right?
Yeah, in New York, and I lived in the Bronx.
You were supposed to go on and be in the peanut gallery.
There was supposed to be down there and got a lot of camera time.
And what happened?
Well, I was sick that day. I was throwing up or something like that. Or I had a big bad headache.
And you saw your friends on TV?
I watched it on TV, and they all were on TV. I missed it all.
Instead of Howdy Doody, he was like, peace out, duty.
So when you add it all up, I did have my 15 minutes of fame, huh?
They were spent at home watching your friends.
Yeah. Right. So, almost a little bit of fame there. You should have seen that place, man. The studio was really small, as the kid said. Said, you wouldn't believe how small it is. Half the size of our classroom.
Oh, man. Oh, Dad, thanks for coming on this week, Dad.
No problem.
Peace out, J. Ron.
See you soon, eh?
Yep.
Okay, bye.
Rock Pod for life. Peace. Hard as Nerf. We out.
I'm anyone you want me to be. I'm what you call a shit pup.
Here we are. Another wonderful week.
Dare I say, episode 4 is our best one yet.
I'm feeling this one.
When you look back on it, Jay and Dan from Sochi, Gerry Dee, Ronnie Taggart, a bunch of comedians, both intentional and unintentional.
Absolutely.
And Callin Pranks, which is my new obsession.
Callin Pranks is my new favorite as well.
In my own defense, well, first of all, I would like to say again, congratulations. 2.5 minutes. That was really impressive.
Thank you very much. That was.
Secondly, I would like to say,
weather is the secret. Sorry.
I know you called into question my strategy.
Yeah.
To say, is that Michael or Steven? That it's fair that you're asking the question. But in my own defense, I would like to say, I would rather get burned trying to fly too close to the sun than not get a tan.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why. Because in the 1 in 100 chance she says, Steven, yeah, he's right here, then I've just bought 2 minutes of confusion. Or my Hail Mary was, she would say, do you mean Corby? In which case I'd say, yeah, put him on.
But even then, when you kind of ruin it by giving it a personalization, so that by saying, okay, this person, Corby, is coming, now when Corby comes on, this person is expecting to know who you are.
In retrospect, what I should have done is started by saying, where's the old man? Is he around? And not put a name to it, because that could have been anybody.
That would have been amazing.
Thanks for listening to TNT. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Something went on here, something went on there. And